All right, we'll come up with a cheesy start. You ready?
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, that's going to be the entry part of every episode now. Okay, welcome to the first episode of Kickboxing Reacts. So, Kickboxing Reacts is where me and Danny come together, talk about the events that have unfolded, and just shoot the breeze, go through results, any shocks, any we absolutely expected, and kind of go from there, really. So, last weekend we had the Bulgarian World Cup. Danny was there. I didn't make it to this one.
European Cup.
Is it a European? Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to get that wrong. I'll get in trouble. European Cup. So, yeah, Danny, you were there. What was your thoughts on the event itself?
Yeah. Great event.
Was it?
Yeah, like it's their second year's European Cup, and you expect a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that have to be learned, but they seem to take care of everything. The
Uh,
referees were taken care of. They were brought out for dinner on the Saturday night. They had a shisha night on the Friday night. Like it's not often that the referees get what they deserve really, because it's one of the hardest jobs in kickboxing.
I wouldn't do it. So, yeah, I agree.
No,
Couldn't
it's a
pay me enough
nightmare.
money.
Well, even when you're right, you're wrong. Somebody's going to see have a different view, different angle, and they're going to complain about it. And as you can see, like a lot of the posts I put on Instagram recently, there they do make mistakes. That's normal. Everyone can't be 100%, but like hopefully these posts will they'll take from them and not make the same mistakes again. Or like I don't want to witch hunt anyone.
No,
Everybody that everyone make mistakes. But this will kind of help them improve. And the fighters as well. Like the fighters will go, okay, I wasn't looking when I done that kick, or I wasn't um, jumping when I said I was jumping for the kick. I actually landed when I done a jumping kick, things like that.
I've
Um,
enjoyed those posts. I said that to you yesterday when we caught up.
yeah,
I think it doesn't feel like a witch hunt. It feels like an education process, and it's invoked a lot of conversation with people. We spoke about it in the group. We had our British Championships a couple of weeks ago. I think there was a couple from Athens actually that you put on before Bulgaria, and I think it's good. It's done in a positive light, and I think as long as it stays positive and allows people to grow, like the thing we all have in common, if we like it or not, referees, fighters, and coaches, we just want the sport to get better. And I think those little clips have probably had more progression with what's this and what's that than any kind of formal training. It gives it a little bit of a light to go, let's talk about it positively. So I've really enjoyed that. But Bulgaria
yeah.
looked like it was a crazy, busy.
It's like 3,100 and something entries between that and the Open Cup. They weren't expecting them numbers. They kind of planned for 2,500.
Right.
So they went way above. So next year they're talking just European Cup, now Open Cup, which will give us a lot of
Yeah.
leeway on time restraints. And
I,
also in another ring, they were tight on space for ring. They had 63 fights per day per ring, whereas the usual would be about 45 fights per day. So the ring refs were very busy, but Michaela done a great job. And on the Sunday, she actually managed to finish over an hour and a half ahead of schedule, which was
really?
you never see that. Like it's 5 fights per hour in the ring. That's like the set standard. But she knocked time out of it somewhere.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How does obviously like I my phone blew up the early part of this week after the event and it was nothing but positivity, which is mad because as a sport, and I guess every sport once you're in it, people love to talk about the negative, but everybody I spoke to was
Yeah.
raving about it from the coaches to the referees, the fighters, the standard. Like it seemed to be like it's really unheard of to come away from an event, and I've genuinely to date not heard a bad thing about it. Like, how does the events moving forward try? Do they try and compare to that? Do they try and say that as the benchmark moving forwards, or is it even possible?
Like it is kind of easier in different countries. It's like the price of holding things is different.
Hmm.
So in the Balkans, like they have it, the price of a lot of the equipment and stuff like that is a lot cheaper. Like say in Ireland and England, it's to run an event like that would be huge money.
Thousands.
Like it's huge money for them too, but it's even more here. So they kind of have that little advantage where they're taking in money from the countries that have a higher wage, say,
Yeah.
and then they're able to spend it in, and they're able to use that money better than we could.
Right, okay. I think it's a hard one to try and build from. Like, if I like, we're both going to be in Italy next week. Have you seen the registrations for that?
Yeah, 3,000. 700, I think.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure
huge
it's.
numbers again. Yeah.
It feels like now we're finally kind of getting a recovery from COVID, and people have, like last year, we were talking about flights and prices, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's not great." They're the same this year, but I feel like everyone's accepted it a lot more, rightly or wrongly. And you look at Italy, and they've probably got one of the better setups when it comes to the organization. Like
Yeah.
Nicola Trainer he's a taskmaster, he's a character, but he can put an event on. And he seems to have that kind of mentality of we're going to get it done either way. And it's obviously, you're part of that team, and he's got a good team around him. So when you see something like Bulgaria come the week before you, um, you've got to be thinking like, how do we compare, or how do we improve, or how do we match that?
Yeah. Like Nico puts on a great show. He used the same arena for many world championships, European championships, and then all the they do their nationals there as well. So they have the services that take care of the arena are brilliant. They look after everything, and Nico knows exactly what he's doing. So whenever there's anything on in Yazlo, you know it's going to be well run.
Yeah,
But back to Bulgaria, like it's in their second year and they've done such a good job. I can only imagine what's gonna come next.
yeah. No,
They
I
had
think.
they had a 2 year contract for the European Cup, so they have to renegotiate now.
Okay.
I can't see them losing that status after what they put on it. For me, that's worthy of a World Cup.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, that's why I made the mistake at the beginning of this. Like, I generally, when you talk about it, the prestige that's come with it, the fighters that turned up, the amount of referees that rocked up to help the event, like the organization, the running of it, like, I don't think there would be any reason why it wouldn't be. I guess it's going to come down to the usual story of money, negotiation, and where it falls on the WAKO calendar.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's dig into it a little bit. So. Results wise, start with just the male female grand champion. So we had Bailey winning the men's senior, and we had Elena from Italy winning the female senior grand champion. Thoughts?
Yeah. Bailey he's no outsider. Like you're always going to put him in the mix. Obviously, him and Martin Ballant were the two favourites at the moment.
Yeah,
And at a lot of the competitions recently, it's them two in the finals of the Grand Champion, and one it's goes either way. It was like the old fights between Robbie and Zolt or Zolt and Ray. You could never pick a winner.
yeah.
Um,
Do you put them in that bracket yet, by the way?
I don't know if they're in that bracket yet. They're certainly close to it, but we'll have to like longevity is a thing, so
It's the
we have to give
legacy
a few
element.
more years.
Yeah,
See how long they last at that level. Like Ray was grand champion in the Irish Open 10 times, so let's just see if they can do that. Like obviously neither of them have won the grand champion in the Irish Open, but because they were too young to enter since the last one.
yeah.
But we'll see how they go over the next couple of years, whether they can maintain that standard.
And it's funny you said you started the episode there, or were we talking about it with Bailey's no outsider. Do you not get there's a weird air when it comes to Bailey that he sometimes still feels like an outsider until semi recently because coming from the States. But if you look at the consistency that he now brings to the table, and everywhere he rocks up, he seems to have great success. But there seems to be I don't know. It's hard to explain. Not a reluctancy, but like I don't know what it is. Like I remember, I can't remember Ray year one of the Irish Open. You will, and I remember Ray of year 8 or 9, and it was very much like, it was a show. People were there to see him. Everyone got behind him. It didn't matter if he was from America. People learned to love him and were like, "Let's go, Ray." I don't think we've got that attitude with Bailey.
I think it's starting to come. When Ray came, he was in the basketball arena at the Irish Open first, and I remember when he was fighting, you couldn't get a view. It was surrounded. Back in the basketball arena, like the crowds were around the tatami. It wasn't all
Yeah,
bordered off, barriered off. And from day one, he was a superstar in at the Irish Open. Um, Bailey as well, he is creating a buzz. Like there was
he
kids
is.
beside me while I was recording the fights, and they were like calling for tornado kicks and all because he's well able to do them. He has the skill, but in close fights like with Martin and the others, you can't do the flashy stuff until you know you have the fight won.
Listen, we've seen that over the years with all the
Although he still does it, he still he still does throw them out in the middle of a tight fight.
Yeah, I think for me, like I got to spend a bit of time with Bailey last year. Very mature to speak to, way beyond his years.
Yeah,
Showman, but when you speak to him one to one, like very humble as well. Like he'll turn it on, but typical kind of American athletic um, attitude. Like he's there to get a job done.
yeah,
Um, but I do feel like the tide is slightly turning towards him now. He's put the graft in. He's turned up at all the events. He's slogged out results. He's walked over results. He's had really tight fights with people, and then he's made fights that we thought were going to be tight look very, very simple.
yeah,
And I feel like it is starting to turn, and it's nice to have that showmanship in there because I think that's the only thing that's really going to, or one of the biggest things that will draw eyes to our sport in general, are those moments, that you notoriously capture for a lot of us, which is a reel that will be something, a singular technique that gets shared everywhere. And if anyone's probably going to be doing that in the men's divisions, especially more so in point fighting that we're talking about right now, then it's probably going to be Bailey.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what about Elena for the women? That's an
Well,
interesting one.
Eleanor, she's just back fighting. She took a short break. There's no surprise there as well. Well, not no surprise.
Yeah,
She was being off the tatami for a while. You think maybe a bit of ring rust and getting your time and distance right, but like she's won everything there is to win already. So you can't ever uh,
count her out.
call her out. Yeah. Like there are a lot of good fighters in that division. Alexandra won in Athens just 3 weeks ago. She won the grand champion. So it was a good final. But Elena took it in the end. She had a lot of good fights. I think she won the 60s as well.
I saw that 60s. Um, yeah, like we all know her talent. She's been around for a very long time. It seems like she went from like a junior to then like a seasoned senior pretty quickly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a lot of juniors come through and they win everything in juniors, and then they hit seniors, and all of a sudden they completely lose everything they had. They were
Yeah,
walking through the junior divisions, winning everything easily, but then they go into the seniors, and all of a sudden they're fighting fighters that might not be technically as good or with their timing as good, but they're smarter and they know how to counter what the younger fighters are doing just through experience. And some of them progress, some of them don't. Elena was one of the ones that
yeah,
carried on from junior into senior and kept winning.
yeah, I agree. And it is a weird one for me because like she has been around for so long. She took a gap, I think it was education based to go and finish off degrees
She
and
had a
stuff.
shoulder injury as well.
Okay, so she was injured as well. And then you
Yeah.
see that, and like if you asked me before the event who wins it, I never would have said her. I don't know why, but it wouldn't have been the first name on my team sheet to win the grand champion. But then you see it, and then you go, actually, I'm not overly surprised. So it's kind of a mixed bag on that one. I guess the question is, like, we're very early in the year, we're February now. Who are the people in these divisions that beat the two guys that just won in Bulgaria? Like, who's going to push them? Obviously, you alluded to Martin earlier on being tight fights, but where do you see the next female grand champion? Can she retain it in Italy? Are we going to see the insurgence of another fighter? Like, where's your
Yeah.
head at?
Well, there's a few good fighters like Tina Ballo was registered but wasn't there. Jody Brown will be there, I think. Alexander again, Andrea Busa. Like there's a handful of fighters there that are all in the mix to take the grand champions out. There's no walk in the park in any divisions. But yeah, the grand champion, of course, most of the time you can't call it. In the men's, there's Dimi from Greece, Dimitris Economou. Who else is there? Let me think. I'm trying, I'm
Martin,
trying to go through who won. Sorry.
Martin obviously is in there.
Yeah, let me just pull up the.
We saw Connor back as well from
Oh,
Ireland.
Conor McGlinchey, Devin Hopper is going to be there as well.
Devon, yeah.
Um, who else? Jack Buckley wasn't there. He'll put up a good fight.
He does, yeah. Like Jack's someone who's really come through the ranks. I spent more time with him recently than I've done before, and
Mm.
he's so hungry. Like you speak to
Uh,
him, he's like
when he's fighting, his reaction time and his speed is
will to
fantastic.
win is frightening as well.
Yeah, and
I
then
don't know. I think it's an interesting.
he's another one actually that can do the some of the like he does a lot of the spinning kicks as well, and he likes to do them in the fights. I don't know if he's trying to make the highlight reel or
He's got
well, I know
the little
a lot of them are
backhand
trying to make the
uppercut.
highlight reel,
The
but
backhand
yeah, his
uppercut for me, I like the little cheeky backhand. I like just catches people with
he
silly
just steps
stuff.
off and catches up. Yeah, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I was looking through the results, and I said to you before we're going to spend the whole episode butchering names, but IKEA Italy. So
Yeah, they
um,
had a big team there.
yeah, and they've got a good spread of results. Are we seeing like the next generation come through now with these guys?
Yeah, it looks like it. There's a few really good fighters. Like the way they do their club, they run their club over there. It's like they call it IKEA family, and you can see
Yeah,
it in it. They really are a family, and they have so much talent from their previous fighters who are now coaches, the seniors that are still fighting, and then the juniors coming through. They've a massive stable of really good fighters, and when you're training with the best, you become the best. Like there's the thing. What is it? You made it when your idols become your rivals,
yeah.
and that's what's happening with a lot of them.
Yeah, it feels that way, and we're seeing that now. But I was just scrolling, literally scrolling through the results, and that club name just kept popping up throughout the divisions, and like even if it wasn't always gold, they seem to get a lot of podium finishes. It's actually
Yeah,
the same with Greece. This is the first time we've seen like a fully fledged like Greek team, and I know Nikos. We spend a lot of time. You've been there as well, at the summer camp,
yeah,
and when they're there in force and then you look at the results, you start thinking like, what if you kept these band of kids together?
yeah,
What does that look like in the future for like Greek kickboxing?
yeah. It's like not just Nikos club, all the other clubs as well.
Yeah,
But like yeah, Nikos kind of because he runs the Atlas Challenge as well. He's the one, and we've known him the longest, I guess, out of all the Greek coaches and fighters. Like we've known him forever. He's the name that comes to mind when we think of Greek kickboxing. He has a lot of good fighters. He's a couple going to China for the World Games. He's got fighters every tournament. You see Icarus on the platform on the
yeah.
podium. So he knows what he's doing, and he's doing it well. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was like I said, we've seen it quite a bit because we have a good connection with them. We kind of see it at the junior worlds quite a lot. Like suddenly, like they seem to get written off for fun, and then all of a sudden they're there, and it's like, oh look, they're there again, and then they're there again, and then they're there again, and you still go to the next event, and people sleep on Greece. That they get to the team events and go, oh, we've pulled Greece, and they're comfy, and then they fight them and lose, and the
yeah.
surprise in people's face. It's not so much of a surprise for us because we get to see such an insight of what they go through in the summer camps, and then we hear about what their preparation will be leading up to the championships. So again, you see that team there. That's probably Nikos's big or Greece's biggest team, I would say, at like a domestic World Cup, European Cup type.
Definitely for teams that travel, I think they're the biggest team that traveled. Like they go to everything. It's like Ivan from Star Team Bulgaria. Like they travel to everything. I think that's probably why the cup was so good this year because Denitsa, Mitko, Ivan, and Chris have been traveling for years to all the competitions. They see what works, what doesn't work, and they put it all into effect there last weekend in Plovdiv
No, look,
as well. Beautiful town as well. Like if you've never been,
I
go,
haven't.
go and visit next year for the next European Cup, or maybe we make it a World Cup.
Yeah, like it'd be interesting to see. Notable mention, Joe Brooks, points light, kick light.
I didn't actually get to see any of his fights. I saw his highlights on Instagram.
Yeah,
He's a quality fighter. Yeah, he's very good. I'm raging that I missed him because I wanted to get a few clips because
something
he has
stupid
some
for the
nice
highlight
movement
reel.
and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
He's again, he was at our tatami clinic that we ran in January. And you look at his fighting style, super aggressive. But what I would say is that actually, when it came to working with the kids and stuff, he was the first person. Do you want me to jump in? Do you want me to do this? And he's on his knees sparring with tiny kids. And
yeah.
then it turned it on for the next fighter. Like I think people forgot about Brooks and the Phoenix Club in general because there was a gap from when they competed at the WAKOs as kids and then came back into it as adults. And I think we're getting, reminded now on a very regular
Yeah,
basis.
I only kind of saw him last year at Watford for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I
He
think
wasn't. I don't think he was even fighting. I think he was just there coaching. And I was like, I know his face, and I couldn't remember who he was exactly. And then someone said his name, and I thought, oh yeah, that's him. And then obviously he won in Greece in the European Championships there. Did he win the two, or was it him and his brother both won? I can't remember.
he won one. He lost to, oh my
So
God.
him and his brother got a gold each.
They both got a gold each.
Yeah, kick light and light contact, but I can't remember.
can't remember the. Oh my
20.
God, my brain's
Yeah.
gone dead. The Slovenian boy beat him in the light contact. I'm sure that was the fight
What
they lost.
weight was that?
63.
Oh, it's not.
If you asked me any other day of the year, I'd tell you.
Yeah, it's
I
too
just
many
can't
names.
remember. So
The
apologies.
Slovenian team in light contact.
I mean, there's no
You don't want to come up against them.
Ziga. Ziga.
Oh, Zigoransky.
Yeah. So
Is
like
he? I
60, I'm
thought
sure
he was
that
a bit
was
heavy. I thought he was 69.
I
Ah,
think it was
yeah,
63, but
he's.
I might be wrong. But I'm sure it was Ziga because I remember speaking to him before about the fight itself. And obviously, I have a lot of Taekwondo guys in my gym in Edinburgh. So to kind of like just shoot the breeze on that one. But it was a great fight. It was super close, actually. It could have gone either way. But yeah, it seems to be an insurgence of the Brooks brothers. I'm interested to see how that one pans out for sure.
Yeah.
Anything that surprised you fight wise, or anything that you kind of look at and go, well, that was always going to happen?
I don't think there was any major surprises. Let me see. No, nothing really stood out as like a real shock
Yeah.
result. Like everybody that won, you would put them in the top three or four in that division anyway. So once you get to the top four of a division, it's always anybody's game.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Obviously, our remit was we're going to try and keep these short and sharp. What we're trying to do is, as this kind of progresses, our production will improve. We'll touch on more of the ring, the light contact element of stuff as well. Obviously, we're both in Italy next week. Shameless plug for the Scottish Open on the 5th and 6th of April. So registration's open for that one. That's my dog who's been howling throughout the whole episode. So that'll be good. But we'll pick this up after Italy. We'll go again. Let's see if anything changes from then to now. And if you've got any comments or predictions for the upcoming championship that we're going to in
There's
Italy,
in Italy 44 people in the minus 63 junior point fighting.
63. I'm going to have Aiden 63 junior points.
Yeah.
So Aiden Lennon from my club.
Like I was looking last week and 69 seniors was the most with 40, but then I looked yesterday and it was 44 in the junior 63. I was like, damn, that's a big division. That's
That's
like that's like an open weight division.
I 63. That's like 63 kilos is a weird one because there's a little thing going on right now with that. It was really good in Greece at the seniors. Um, at the
But that was
junior
my weight when I was fighting, and the thing was, you never knew the fighters because it was always juniors coming through because they were always younger and lighter.
lighter enough. Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Now once they start growing older, then they'd move up in the weight. So nearly every year in 63 and 57, there's new fighters every time because they're just turning senior and they're only smaller. Now I was ancient for that weight category, but it was fun. But you never knew what you're coming up against then either.
Well, we'll try and get some footage of that division as it unfolds in Italy. We'll chuck some stuff up, but yeah, honestly, I've looked at what's usually the quietest weights, and there's nothing quiet about next weekend. Like it's actually chaos. Even as a coach, I'm kind of scratching my head. I'm like, I wonder what the finish time is going to be on the Saturday. Like it's going to be
Yeah.
crazy.
But at least the hotels are close by anyway, so as soon as it's over, you're
Yeah, I'm
basically
I'm a stone's
yeah.
throw away for that very reason.
Yeah.
But for you guys at home, if you enjoyed Bulgaria, leave some comments below. Keep it positive. We're here to try and highlight our sport in the best way possible, and we ask you guys to do the same. So anything, any stories from Bulgaria, share with us in the comments below. If you've got predictions moving forwards for Italy, let us know, and then we can revisit all these comments in the next episode. All right. Danny, thanks for your time as always. I'll see you in a few days. Behave until then,
Yeah,
all
I'll be over there. I'll be over there on Wednesday, so we've got.
right? That's all right for some. I fly Friday morning, so I'll catch you then.
All right, cool. See
All
you.
right. Take care, bro. Bye.